everybody. Welcome to another comic episode of Game My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who are the Terminators with me tonight?
Stefan JD.
Stuart Hughes. Fuck, I couldn't remember the line from Robocop.
Yeah. It's like, can't think of it.
We're all tired.
It's been a long day.
What does Robocop say?
I have no idea. I'm the worst person to have on this book, by the way, on this episode, but...
Your move,
okay.
Creep. That's a good one.
That would be accurate. All right, and
Dead
Stefan,
or alive,
you want to
you're
introduce...
coming with me.
Steph, you want to introduce what comic you picked out for us?
Yeah. Oh, you got it right, Stu. Dead or Alive, you're coming with me. It's the Dark Horse comic book, the limited series that came out in May 1st, 1992 by Frank Miller and Walt Simonson. It is Robocop versus Terminator, which became a lot of things. It became a video game. It was a comic book. Just a lot of things. NECA toys.
So my first question, is any of it actually good?
Yee, that's debatable.
Only we had a podcast where we could play games.
Yeah.
A bygone era.
I never want to find out, okay? I read the book. I'm good.
I have a list of like revenge games if Mike ever makes me play Conker's Bad Fur Day. So just sitting on that.
I don't ever plan to. But I don't want to play Conker's Bad Fur Day ever either. So it's okay.
I'll just tank the whole show.
So, Stefan, what made you pick this book? That's my first question I gotta ask.
Part of the reason why I picked it is because it seems to be a thing that like I want to start doing, where we put on versus like IPs on here. So we've already had Freddy versus Jason versus Ash. So now we got Terminator versus... Oh, I got more. But yeah, no, it's just, you know, the art, and it's Frank Miller. So if anyone doesn't know, Frank Miller wrote the script for Robocop 2 and Robocop 3, and he also starred in Robocop 2. He plays a scientist.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, whose name in the movie. Yeah, in the movie his name is Frank too. So
well, spoiler alert, I've never seen Robocop 2 or 3. I never will.
He also created Elektra. So
that I know.
Swings and roundabouts for Frank Miller.
Yeah.
This is a really strange book. Like I saw the Frank Miller as I opening up this book, and I'm like, okay, that's strange. And everything about this book is just weird. Like, it starts off in the Terminator world, so everybody's fucked. Everyone's in hell. Close to it.
Yeah, well, it starts off in future Terminator worlds.
Oh, yeah, I guess I should say that, shouldn't I?
Yeah, the time travel is a very big part of this comic. By the way, if anyone is wondering why I'm here on a comic episode, Stefan said Robocop versus Terminator, and that's why I'm here.
Pretty much. And I'm here because I'm always here. So, yeah.
Yeah, you are.
The most 80s thing. It's the most 80s thing ever. It was published in 1992, oddly enough.
Yeah.
Well, during the height when people still cared about Robocop. Huh. Yeah, when people still care. I don't know if you're a spoiler alert. I don't care for Robocop. I like Terminator, but not huge Terminator fan.
Love me some Robocop.
Fuck yeah.
Robocop 1 and 2, 1 and 3, and a little bit of 2.
Yeah. But yeah, so this taking place in the future, it's basically the last battle between the humans and the machines, and the machines are going to win in this one.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, so some random random babe who, you know, has short hair and
has like a Friar Tuck hair.
Yeah, she's basically like a dude. It's because what they always used to do to women, and when they're the heroes, just have short hair for some reason.
I mean, they do sexify her later, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, but she's going back in time to stop this guy called Alex Murphy.
Well,
setting off Skynet.
It's because when she's in the Terminator network, she finds out using some brain device she hooks up to her head that tells her, to her bowl cut. I don't know if you said this. That tells her that Alex Murphy was the one that started the whole thing.
Well, it was Mary who started the whole thing. Marie who started the whole thing. Using like Alex Murphy's brain, and that was forged with Skynet, and that's how like the Terminators got so warlike
or intelligent or something like that.
It wasn't like intelligence. It was like self-awareness, and like how Skynet evolved to like from wanting to control humanity, just like wipe it all out to quote unquote organize the universe.
I mean, this comic is so weird. Like, even just the beginning when she strips naked, jumps into the time machine, because, you know, Why not strip naked first?
Skynet has never really been explained as a character, as like as an organization. Even within like the
unique.
Terminator films. I mean, it's as close to like a Skynet justification as like we've ever gotten in any of the Terminator movies.
Yeah, because Skynet is just basically a thinking machine that just wants to wipe out humanity because it realizes it's its enemy. So that's all it's doing. It's just like, that's the enemy, gotta kill him.
Yeah,
You're not that wrong.
I don't think it's like, I don't think it had a voice until like Salvation.
Mm-hmm.
Which that should show you exactly how thought out that was.
I like that movie.
I like parts of that movie.
Yeah.
That's the one with Christian Bale, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the parts I don't like.
Yeah, he doesn't need to be in that movie. But speaking of like, okay, this comic just I wasn't really interested in it, and then when you get near the first few pages, after she goes back in time, she wakes up or she ends up naked on the street, and a guy pulls a gun on her, and then it has a panel of 6-7 different people all pulling out guns. Yeah. And I'm like, this is stupid.
Because Detroit.
Yeah.
That's Detroit, baby.
I can believe that.
My favorite part about that was as she was running to like jump, like, so she's in this big like Skynet, like the Skynet factory. It's kind of implied to be like the Skynet base, and she's like she's wearing a helmet and she's all plugged in, which they don't explain any of that. She's like, it just starts and she's there, and it starts blowing up. Like the Terminators realize she's there. They start blowing up their own facility to kill one human.
Yeah,
like.
We should point out too that this is all the way Detroit is because it's like the anthropological like effects of like British people, how they view America, which Robocop is like a what do you call it, like a ripoff of Judge Dredd. It's the same exact thing.
Better.
So you're telling me Judge Dredd's not good either?
No, Judge Dredd is awesome, just like Robocop, Mike. And the reason why she was naked in the time machine is because only organic things can go through.
Yeah, which is funny because if you travel back in time, like they kind of break the rules here, or don't. Frank Miller kind of doesn't understand the rules of Terminator, I don't think, because as she's running to the time machine, she's like ripping all of her clothes off to jump into it. But I was like, well, that she doesn't have to do that, right? Like she goes back, but the clothes don't. Only organic material goes back.
I think they do have to take it off, otherwise it'll like burn them because it's attached to them. It's just it have to be organic 100%. So like if they had an earring in, they'd have to take it out.
I want to say in Terminator Salvation, don't they send Anton Yelchin as Kyle Reese back at some point, and he's wearing clothes.
I think
Terminator doesn't like to follow the rules it makes. Let's just say that.
No, that's true. Anton Yelchin also looks about like 30 years younger than Michael Biehn did in Terminator 1.
Yeah.
So that timeline's all over the place. So I'm not too like worried about the timelines here because it's all like this is kind of like a what if story.
Plus, I mean, you got to find a way to put these two IPs together. This is just so happens to be the way he does it, you know?
Yeah, it's an interesting way of going about it for sure because it makes sense of Robocop being like the proto Terminator. It makes total sense to me.
Yeah,
even for a guy who isn't a fan, I can understand where they're coming from. And like I had forgotten about those stupid mech things in the Robocop world that they had made to kind of be the police force and how stupid they are. Like you didn't put down. Yeah, like you stole a toilet paper roll. Kill up. Like.
Oh man, I love Ed 209. It's so well, the thing about Robocop is that it's a parody. Like Robocop is straight up a like self-parodic, like it's meant to be a self-parodic like funny movie with Robocop also being like a good character thrown in there. So
it's like it's like Ghostbusters. Like it's meant like everyone in that world is taking it seriously, but the viewer doesn't have to.
Yeah. I always describe it as like similar to Starship Troopers.
Yeah, there you go. Which, if you already know, Stu, I'm sure Mike doesn't know, but RoboCop and Starship Troopers, both directed by Paul Verhoeven.
That's correct. And both of those movies, when they came out, people were like, well, this is like a completely serious bad movie that's like propping up like capitalism and greed. And it's like, no, it's obviously a parody. Like, how could you not see that it's a parody?
Yeah.
That's like a common theme with Paul Verhoeven. Like Starship Troopers came out, everyone was like, oh, like this is awful. This is like a pro-fascist nightmare world. was like, no, it's obviously a joke. Like, come on. Like, it took you a couple years, but you realized Robocop was a joke.
Would you like to know more?
Like, the man made Total Recall. Do not take him seriously as a director, but do not take his like views seriously, because they're all jokes.
And they're all violent.
They're all ridiculously violent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This comic is super freaking violent too, though.
Oh yeah, I love that everyone has a gun.
Yeah, I mean, everything I always hear. I've never been to Detroit, but I know all the jokes about Detroit, and I know someone that I've been recently had met, and they keep making Detroit jokes. And the guy's like, "Yeah, Detroit got better," and the other guy's like, "Oh, you mean they tore down everything?"
Yeah,
you know, it's just tons of jokes like that, and I'm just like,
yeah.
But still, yeah.
I mean, like, when the most famous character or the most famous person coming out of Detroit is a fictional character named Robocop, like that tells you everything you need to know about Detroit.
They never did build that statue, did they?
I think they did.
I know they wanted to, but I don't know if they'd let them. I don't know if the city would pay for it. I can't remember.
Yeah. Okay, as of January 14th, it is almost done. The only thing that remains is to finish the head and place it on the statue.
That's not happening anytime soon.
I mean, these people have been trying to build this statue for 9 years now.
That's a long time.
So I guarantee you they are going to do everything they can to get this fucking statue up.
That's dedication.
Yeah, I mean, they deserve it. Like, frankly, like, if they couldn't get a statue of Robocop, they should at least get a statue of, like, Peter Weller.
That would be awesome. There's actually a funny video of Peter Weller playing a Robocop pinball machine while standing right next to him as a guy in a Robocop outfit playing Robocop arcade.
God, can't imagine trying to play a game in the Robocop outfit. It'd be like Robocop 3, where Peter Weller was replaced with another actor, and they didn't bother to remake the suit, and so the actor had to wear a suit that was fit specifically for Peter Weller.
Mm-hmm.
It's just super uncomfortable looking. It's made of like PVC.
Yeah, but the whole thing with Robocop, like even in the comic here, is that he's basically the law enforcement officer that basically takes care of all the hard work for the police there.
Yeah, Robocop he's the quintessential like cowboy. Like,
yeah, he doesn't follow any of the rules. He's kind of doing his own thing, and he's going around basically just taking out guys left and right, because this again is very super violent.
Yeah.
I think I want to say in the first issue, like a guy is about to blow up City Hall or something, which I think also happens in the movies, and Robocop just throws him in the air as the timer's going off.
Yeah, which I saw that scene and I was like, did the Dredd movie rip off Robocop versus Terminator, the new Dredd movie? Because that happens in Dredd too.
Yeah,
nobody knew.
I love
nobody would have cared.
Yeah, that's like immediately after there's some guys holding this rich dude's wife hostage in a basement. By the way, these are all like I like Frank Miller maybe not as a director so much. I think I like him as a writer. I do love The Spirit. I think The Spirit is a criminally underrated movie that got shit on unfairly, because I mean, let's face it, Samuel L. Jackson plays a black octopus Nazi, and that's hilarious to me. Like way over the top. But yeah, like his writing is so like the whole story is told essentially through a narration mainly, and everything is just like, it feels like they knew that their time was limited, so he just burns through scenes. It's like, okay, guys held this wife hostage in the basement of this rich dude. Okay, Robocop shows up, kills them all. Immediately next scene, goes upstairs, there's a guy about to blow up like this rich party of all these fat cats, throws him out the window. Next scene. It's like, it doesn't stop.
Yeah, it's a very quick comic. They keep moving, and you have the girl who went back in time who's trying to build a gun that's not from this time in order to kill Robocop, because the regular guns won't do anything. And I mean, that was kind of cool. She built some kind of plasma weapon, but it doesn't even kill him.
Yeah, it's also like, I don't know when like Cable was first introduced in Deadpool, but I know Cable does that in the Deadpool movie, and I'm like, did that come from the Cable comics, or did that
Cable came first?
Okay, I love that. Like, it's the same story. Like, I gotta go back in time, but it just skips through him like gathering all the parts. Like, next scene, she just has all the parts assembled into a plasma cannon, and she just straight up says like, oh great, my plasma cannon's done.
Well, that's because I mean, this book moves really fast. Like, in the 4 issues it lasts, it feels like you could have taken and made a 12-issue series and put stuff in between, because he just goes through everything so quickly to fit in a story.
Yeah.
Like, it's just weird. Like, even in the first scene when she shoots, or in the first book when she shoots him, and all of a sudden you see that the future is starting to become normal again. You start seeing grass grow. The Terminator's like, oh shit, we got to do something, which is annoying. annoying, but I guess that's a Terminator thing where they're like, all right, hey.
That's
go
one of
back
the
in
things
time.
that the movie never shows us. So they're always like,
Yeah.
we're going to change the future. We're going to save John, blah, blah, blah. But they never show what the effects look like in the future, like the ripple of the change.
Yeah.
So it actually shows it in the comic that it's like this wave coming across the earth that's just changing shit as it passes by it.
Yeah, stuff literally like pops, and then like sometimes people are aware of it, and sometimes they aren't. I guess depending on how like how big the change is.
But like they,
weird.
yeah, Skynet sees it because for some reason they see it, and
Skynet seems to exist outside. They seem to have a consciousness that exists like outside of a timeline that can detect and read timelines, which makes sense considering how like the fact that they keep sending things back in time. It makes sense that they would have some way of reading it,
right. So
it changes.
it's like a continuous war, but they say like this is their last chance because the humans are winning, and she killed Alex Murphy, so they send a Terminator back. Or 3.
They send 3 back, yeah.
They send
Yeah.
back 3.
They send back the
But they
nuclear
come back in
family
a freaking
Basketball game.
in the
What was
middle of
it?
the basketball game, yeah.
Yeah.
And
they come back in a
everybody
basketball
in the
game.
stadium has a fucking gun.
Yeah.
They leave.
That's the theme of this.
It hard cuts from a scene of them appearing in a basketball stadium in the middle of a game, and everybody in the audience, their first reaction is, I better pull up my fucking gun. And then the next scene is them leaving the stadium, and they have a shitload of guns and full clothes. It's like the narration is like, there are plenty of clothes and even more weapons. It's like, Detroit sucks. Frank Miller must just fucking hate Detroit.
This is also, I think, the first appearance of like a child Terminator, which is creepy as
Yeah.
shit.
It's not the first appearance. Well, no, I guess it is the first appearance of a dog Terminator as well.
Yeah.
The dog shows up later, which shows up again in Salvation, I want to say. Definitely one of the
can't
Terminator movies has
remember.
like a hunter killer, like dog or like animal style robot.
I'm trying to remember. It's been a while.
Those movies everything past Terminator, like even I would say even 3, they just get so forgettable.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, people clearly try. Like the new movie was pretty good, which I can't even remember the name of. And I realize that's really
Terminator
hurting.
Genesis.
No.
That's the one before that.
Yeah, the one with
That doesn't matter.
the superhuman
We're not here
chick,
for that.
which is like, okay, this is like, that was kind of cool. And seeing like Linda Hamilton come back and be a badass again, that was pretty cool. But just, I don't remember anything of Genesis, and I saw that movie twice.
Yeah. We're going to talk about that one day. I want to go through that series. I would like to.
Oh God, man, the first 2 episodes are gonna be so much fun, and then not.
And then not.
I mean, and also like, so the Terminators go back in time, and
Yes.
I want to say the girl who tried to kill Robocop, he arrested her, of course, because that's Robocop.
And we're
And
calling her
she's
the
trying to
girl
tell
because
him-
you don't know her name.
Yeah, and she's trying to explain that yes, trying to explain to Robocop what's going on. And I don't think he believes her, and it's right after she ends up getting shot by a Terminator
Yeah,
inside a car, and that's when Robocop's like, "Wait a second,
she gets
you're
shot in the
not
fucking
human."
chest. Yeah,
Yeah, because they went back before she killed Alex Murphy so that they could stop it. So then they shoot her.
Okay,
They
That's
shoot
what
her,
happened.
and then he sees like the eye of the Terminator that he just shot at, and he's like, "That's not right."
yeah. It actually made me kind of want, like, it would be hard to do this in a movie, but it made me kind of want this kind of story in a movie, because really it's 4 volumes and people time travel about 20 times.
Right.
People like keep going back in
not
time.
that many, but
No, it's not that many, but
it
it's
is
a
a
lot.
few times.
It's multiple times throughout each comic. People go back in time, and sometimes you go back in time, and I think you don't realize it for a second.
Yeah.
Like suddenly you'll be in the future again. You're like, wait, what future are we in? Wait, where are we right now? But I kind of like that. I kind of like the idea of a Terminator movie coming out and it being like, okay, we've killed the Terminator from the future first 5 minutes, and they're like, all right, we're gonna send another Terminator, and then like it kills John Connor, and so like Kyle Reese has to go back even earlier and save John Connor.
Yeah, this even goes as far as to say now that they took that chick out, they've reset the future to where now the machines are winning again, and the last human on Earth is a child, and it
Yes.
literally shows them blowing the child away, and then the machines like raising their hands in victory.
Yeah, but then it goes
It's
back to the
real
past.
fucked up.
Because that timeline happened, but she didn't actually die. So are we in a different timeline now, or are we in the same timeline and that was just like a vision of what would happen? It's very confusing. but in a good way, I think.
Yeah.
It doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, I mean, and like that
But it
scene we were
doesn't
just
have
talking
to.
about, it's brutal looking, like the way they do it. And they do a decent job of it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they have the Terminator holding the body up in the air, like, we won!
Well, the art
That
is
is it.
fantastic. It's
Oh God, yeah.
yeah. I mean, the guy who did the art for it, he's worked on like so much.
Yeah, I think Walt Simonson's best known for creating the character Beta Ray Bill for Thor.
Yeah, he also has worked on like a ton of like Star Wars properties and Alien and Battlestar Galactica and a ton of Marvel stuff. I think Fantastic Four was on there, a ton of DC stuff. Like, dude is prolific.
Oh yeah.
And I want to say issue 2 that also introduced you to what will become Skynet, where it shows Alex Murphy hooked up to something that looks like he's Darth Vader in that same type of like, that's what it reminded me of.
You mean
that
the
same
Lawnmower
chamber
Man
where he
sequence?
goes? Yeah. Oh God, that was stupid. Where he's like flying through cyberspace and something. Isn't it to find out the Terminators are real or something? I want to say
It's before the internet, so it's kind of like, hey, this is what Robocop would be doing if he could hook up to the internet.
Yeah.
the internet was.
It's very much like if RoboCop was Lawnmower Man, and also nothing like that happens in any of the RoboCop movies, as far as I can remember, of him like hooking up and going to the future.
I don't know. I'm the wrong person. I'm the wrong person to ask.
I don't remember that. I'm pretty sure all the RoboCops, like RoboCop 1, pretty grounded by comparison to like the other two, but
yeah.
RoboCop 2 is like kind of like a standard sequel where he's got to kill more guys. And it makes it more about his wife, I want to say. And then RoboCop 3 actually has like the flying RoboCops in the style of like Iron Man almost.
Yeah, it's and then the ninjas in that one too, the robot ninjas. But I want
never time travel.
Yeah, I want to say the only thing he's at, like the farthest ever gotten, is when he hooks up to the machine. He has a dream, and somehow on their TV screen they can see his dream from like a camera's viewpoint. Which makes no sense.
But that's just a dream. And this, he's hooked up to the internet and flying through cyberspace and also real space, and can see inside Skynet and see like the evolution of Skynet. I guess it kind of explains it as like, because he's a program, he can do the math and like figure out what the logical steps are for Skynet, I guess. But really that's weird. His like, oh my God, the woman was right. I've got to. I like how immediate too it is with, he sees what Skynet's going to become. He sees his role in it, and immediately he's like, I must obey my directives, therefore I must die. Immediately says, I'm gonna kill myself.
Basically, yeah. And then it does a hard cut to the Terminators, who see a blind man, and they wonder why, like, his eyes don't work, and he's still, the humans let him live. He's useless, wasteful, there are no witnesses, and they just murder him.
Yeah, Terminators are terrible.
Well, it's not true. They murdered him so that the guy could wear his cool cataract shades.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, and then they have those stupid robots again. What are they called? T something?
Ed 209.
Ed 209.
And they shoot themselves because they're confused or something.
Yeah, they immediately shoot themselves.
Wait, what does he say? He says, scan for cybernetic activity, maintain full combat readiness. And they're like, yes, sir. Alert, cybernetic activity. And they start shooting.
Yeah, they scan themselves.
Yeah.
Kill each other. And then, like, a second after that, they're like, cybernetic activity detecting. He's like, you guys are idiots. Like, no, cybernetic activity directed. And you see the Terminators driving through the building in the fucking, like, old Cadillac they found.
But don't forget that they have tons of missiles, like 30 missiles on the back of this truck that they're driving for no reason.
And where did they get those missiles? From the Detroit police station lockup. So those are all missiles that the police have confiscated from.
That's how that works.
Criminals.
Yeah, and then he says, scan for life forms, none found. And he's like, fire at will, and they just explode the car and take off. I do like the scene when the Terminators are running out of the fire, and then you see them as the robotic Terminators and not in their fake bodies anymore. Like that, I liked for some reason.
It doesn't. This comic doesn't waste time on anything, and I like how quickly they're like, yes, these are Terminators. Fuck it, they're not going to pull any like pretend to be human shit. These are different Terminators. They have a goal to just kill all humans, so they're going to gonna be fucking Terminators.
Hell yeah.
I love the line where he's like talking about how they have explosives, and he's like, these are useless, except the explosives. Those aren't useless. It just like shoots the grenade. I could find a use for them.
Yeah.
Such a weird ass comic. And then you have the girl gets back in and she shoots somebody. I don't even know. But I do like that final panel of the second book where you have Robocop missing an arm, all beat up, and he's holding a Terminator head in the other hand. Well,
you don't know that at first because this was done in the style of like write in, vote to see what like the ending's going to be, kind of.
Oh, so, that wasn't okay.
Yeah. Well, so the final image of volume 2 is you see like the Terminator head and Robocop next to him, and Robocop's missing an arm, and it looks like he's killed Robocop, and you're like, what?
How I saw it in this one. Maybe I'm looking at something different.
Yeah, it's actually a like what should I call it? Like something.
You're right. I'm looking at it now.
It's something they do in comic books where like they'll leave like a cliffhanger, and then the next page is that splash page showing what actually happened.
Yeah,
like it's a technique, is what it is.
I might be confusing it with the end of.
I think you're confusing the end of 3. 3 is when 3 is when everything goes to hell.
I'm trying to find the grenade line because it's just great. I like that Robocop does fucking karate in this. Like he's straight up. Yeah, he's straight up gets it. Like because Peter Weller can only move so much in the suit in the movies,
and he's got to move a specific way.
Yeah, and then this Robocop is just like punching people, kicking people. Like he's gonna kill them.
I can only imagine how he felt that first time putting on the costume because it took him 8 hours to get into it the first time.
Oh God,
and that was that
felt really cool though.
Yeah, and then and then I think it was what's his name, Red from that '70s show. I forget the actor's name.
You're right, it is Red.
Kurt something.
Yeah, he was like, man, he's like, we were sitting there in that warehouse scene. He's like, it was like 110 degrees, and I was super hot. And then I looked over at Peter Weller, and I was like, good God.
Kurtwood Smith.
Yeah, known as Red.
Oh, here's the line. Fire at will, and like the narration is lots of weapons, lots of explosives, no reason they should go to waste. That's great. It's a great line.
I do gotta say that in the first, like one of the first panels, splash pages in 3, where it shows like a Terminator like spaceship with a Terminator head on the front of it, like fat.
Yeah,
that was badass looking. Like, I mean, because they destroyed everyone on Earth, so now the Terminators are riding Terminator ships and flying away. It's just weird looking, but it does look cool.
It's
the ultimate goal to organize the galaxy for some reason.
It made me really want to see like a Terminator space movie.
That'd be awesome.
Like, there's no reason that head of the spaceship should be the head of a Terminator, but just it's like a menacing, like almost like H.R. Geiger looking ship.
Yeah. You mean in the fact that it looks like a phallus?
Yeah, it's a phallic ship with a Terminator head on the front of it. It's just like, what is this?
I mean, and then it has a part where it shows all these people inside ditch being buried by the Terminator, and they're just killing everyone that's left. And that's when it shows you that because Robocop realizes that I need to kill myself in order to stop this future from happening. And it shows like all these people about to die. Then it shows him getting ready to go inside a like crusher thing, or going inside a crusher, and then as he does that, they start the humans, all of a sudden the rocks become leaves and their barcodes start disappearing. They start celebrating, and the Terminators start blowing up because they change history again.
Yeah, which you could argue that was Alex Murphy's vision of the future, which is why everyone was aware of the changes, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's just ripples is what it is, but it could be that too. I mean, I wouldn't rule anything out with time travel.
I would say it was more ripples, like because it was starting, but he hadn't finished it, or it was the starting of the effect of what was coming by him making that decision. Because I also kind of believe with time travel, if you make that decision, and for the moment that decision is going to happen, then the future will start to change until that decision is altered.
There's a nice little
gun to your head. You're about to pull it. Future will react to it unless someone stops you if you have full intent to do it. I feel like in that sense.
Yeah. The Terminators.
I think of a better thing.
Yeah, the Terminators just do it again, though. They send a kid back in time.
They swallow a robot and a dog.
Yeah, and that kid and that dog happen to be near a baseball field where they literally kill another kid and take his mitt and ball and clothes. Yeah. And they travel over to a cemetery where Alex Murphy is looking at his own grave. And this is the creepiest part of the comic to me, where the kid just starts talking like a robot.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, and just like, like they're clever. What does he say? They are clever things, unpredictable. They tricked you. They put that corpse's face on you and made you want to be human. You are better than them, cleaner, purer. The only purpose they serve is creating you.
Yeah, they go into the whole spiel like we can make you a god. It's like genuinely unnerving. It's something that has never been in like the Terminator franchise, much less the Robocop franchise. And it's like, that's a great idea for a Terminator movie.
I agree.
And then he shoots him in the face. He shoots the kid in the face.
Make the Terminator a child and a dog.
He's like,
the dog is cool.
He's like, you must do it.
Yeah. Burst out that it looks like an octopus dog is the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
That is cool. I will say that is
like
super cool.
I thought it looked like a mix of the Shredder armor from Ninja Turtles and the machines from the Matrix.
Okay. Oh yeah, it could look like that too.
I'll do that. And in this version, they fuck up Robocop
squids,
and they cut off his arms. They cut him off, and they take his head. They cut everything to pieces, take his head, and then I want to say the girl realizes something's wrong because Robocop was supposed to meet up with her. I want to say that was going on, and then she ends up walking.
Gunshot in the jail too.
Oh, okay, that should that probably. I read this a couple of days ago, but it has a weird scene where she sees Alex Murphy's head attached to the same thing, and the Skynet is there, and someone's all tied up by robot tentacles. Which
is Mary. That's the Robocop. Like,
is she in the movies?
Yeah, she's not the love interest. She's like the doctor who is in charge of maintaining and like upgrading Robocop.
Like, she has a heart for him because she respects him as a human being, even though he's an android. Yeah.
It's like a weird, like, I don't even want to call it like unrequited love. It's just like a weird, like, dynamic between the two. But yeah, she is in the movies.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe she's more like a mother character. She like takes care of him.
She's the Aunt May of
yeah. And this is when things get this is when I thought the book was done, because I didn't realize I was only on 3 and not 4, because I think part of me just wanted to be done. After they hook up Alex Murphy, the world starts changing because they got his brain. Skynet becomes Skynet. They're killing all the humans.
They kill off.
I want to say they killed the girl.
Spoilers for this part, obviously, but yeah, they kill the girl, like straight up murder her and Mary. And it's like, I keep saying Mary, it's Marie.
It doesn't matter.
They straight up kill like the girl who is basically the protagonist of the story so far, and Marie. It's like, okay, we're doing this. Like we're going dark. All right, Frank.
Yeah, that's Frank.
Frank Miller doesn't fuck around.
And then as it shows all the Terminators killing all the humans again and making more Terminators, it shows that Robocop is slowly trying to build himself and sneak himself into where they don't notice.
I love that. He's hidden.
He's hiding from them, is what it is. He's hiding from Skynet for like decades, so they don't find him in the programming.
Which the scene is directly like, one of the panels looks directly like it's out of Lawnmower Man, which is funny, but also he's the literal ghost in the machine.
Yeah.
It's he is literally like hiding in the machine, and he starts like, his memory starts thinking about like, oh, ghost story is possession. I can like possess one of these robots. Oh, I can possess the whole factory.
Yeah. I was watching Terminator 2 before this, and there's that chilling part where the Terminator reveals that like Skynet first attacks Russia on Judgment Day because they know that they are the only ones that have the nuclear power to attack us right back and kill us all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And John's like, aren't we friends with Russia? I'm like, John, you really didn't go to school, buddy.
It was the 80s.
We were in World War II.
This was after, was this after Rocky 3 came out?
Rocky 4 is the one you're talking
Rocky
about.
4.
Yeah. Rocky 3 is with Clubber.
Oh,
Mr.
God,
T.
yeah. I choose to forget that one.
It's a good movie.
It's an all right movie. It's the worst Rocky movie.
No, it's not. 5.
I like parts of 5. I hate Clubber Lang so much.
I like all of them.
I mean, they're all great. Like, they're all still Rocky movies. If a Rocky movie comes out as shit, I'll still be like, well, it's still Rocky.
And at the end of this issue, it's where it shows Robocop, like he rebuilt himself. He has freaking missiles on his back, missiles on his leg. He just looks like a giant walking cannon type thing. And it's weird.
That's RoboCop 3 RoboCop. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's why I didn't get it then.
Yeah. And I don't know if this takes place. is meant to take place like in
Alternate
between
world.
RoboCop 1 and 2 in terms of like, yeah, but there's like it jumps into the canon like in between RoboCop 1 and 2. It's kind of confusing. So
I want to say it's a possibility that after they reset the future, that rocket pack somehow stayed in the past, like as a concept to somebody somewhere.
it was like in his memory.
Yeah, something. I don't know.
Like,
But
it.
yeah, I actually own the toy
I
to
can
this as
see-
well.
I'm
I
not
can see them like
surprised.
straight up saying like yes, because let's face it, the Terminator timeline is so fucked at this point. It's so beyond saving
Hmm.
that they don't even try to save it anymore, and I'm fine with that. Like just give up on it. You can't salvage whatever mess is there.
Yeah.
I'm fine with like if somebody came out and they said like yes, this comic is canon, I'd be like yeah, okay, I accept that. It's canon.
I
to
mean,
both
this
Robo
could
comics.
be.
All right.
In
sure.
the end, as we'll get to shortly, I mean, you could make this canon and nobody would really, well, nobody give a shit anyway, I feel.
No, well, there'd be that small portion of the internet that's like, no, it's not canon. Well, it still exists, so no.
It's okay. Comics can be canon. Hey, the final season of a few shows are comic books now. Like Buffy did it, Smallville did it. I want to say.
Yeah, Buffy. Yeah. Oh man, we should do the Buffy comic.
Mm.
Should watch the entire Buffy show and do the comic.
Yeah,
I actually would be down for that. I have never seen Buffy, so
You've never seen Buffy? Oh,
no.
do you love the '90s? You will.
I will say I watched maybe one episode, but I mostly watched Angel, which sucked. And then
Angel's amazing, but that would have to be a whole other podcast where we just do Buffy and Angel episode, which is not happening.
Yeah.
I like Angel, but that's only because I liked Spike so much as a kid, and Spike was in Angel way more than he was in Buffy
Yeah.
for a while. So that was how I got my Spike fixed. Oh
So
man.
speaking
Let's
of
watch
this
Buffy.
last issue, it confused me because the last issue starts like the very first issue of this miniseries, the exact same panels for like the first page or two, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening here? Like, why is it the exact same thing? Because it's the same scene where the girls in the tower going to go back in time and they're about to and they're about to finish off the humans, and then Robocop shows up and blows up everybody that was going to blow up that tower and the rest of the humans that were alive.
Yeah, it's a nice like I gotta sneeze now. Hold on. God. Now that I said it, I'm not gonna sneeze.
That's how that works.
I might be taken out of commission for like 2 minutes here. This is bad.
All right, I'll talk while you. Okay, so then it shows like all the humans like are in a camp, just like they are just losing, like they are, which is normal. I mean, it's Terminator. One thing I don't like about Terminator is how depressing it is and how hopeless the future is.
I mean, there's hope. That's the whole point of it.
Yeah,
but
one
it's-
guy.
There's
Yeah.
hope, except in Terminator 3.
Oh yeah, but there's the whole point of this is that basically he's come back in the future and he has to side with the humans and convince them that he's not an enemy. And
Yes.
Skynet finds out about where they're at and tries to send a nuke to blow up the last remaining humans, which Robocop flies out in outer space and diverts it back at Skynet.
Yes, it's very odd because he's flying out and he's like Superman. It seems so
It's
familiar.
It's a straight up scene out of Superman where when he goes up and moves the rocket.
Yeah, I was referencing Iron Man, which is also a straight up reference to Superman.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was
There's,
cool when you see the
watch
rocket
Iron Man?
come. Yeah, I already did that.
Do it? No, not Iron Man. Iron Giant. Sorry.
Okay, I was gonna say like there's no nukes and it's just Ironmonger, but and then they have that cool scene where when you do see the rocket come down and take
There
out
is the nuke in Iron Man. No, sorry, not Iron Man. Avengers.
Yeah,
Remember? He
I
takes the
remember
nuke up into space.
great movie. But so, as I was saying, and then it shows like where RoboCop is all like completely fucked over because he stopped this nuke. I mean, that's kind of a cool scene. It reminds me completely of Darth Vader from Star Wars when he like is all plugged in, hooked up to stuff. He's missing a leg, missing an arm, and all I can think of is Vader.
Yeah, that's always like the best parts of RoboCop because that's like RoboCop is a parody western that's just set in like quote unquote modern Detroit at the time, modern Detroit. Like a heightened version of Detroit. But RoboCop is really more about like the struggle of Alex Murphy, like between him and his human self and his robot self. Like that's like the meta story going on. And so it was nice to see that. Like it's always nice to see RoboCop being like torn down, his helmet off. Like you see like his face all fucked up. That's cool to me.
Yeah, anytime you show him in pieces, I'm having fun. I don't know why. Just the violence.
I wasn't. But again, I'm the wrong person to be on this because I'm just not a fan of either franchise. So I'm kind of like, yeah.
That
This is why I wanted
literally
to hop on.
Yeah, that literally blows my mind, Mike, that you do not like RoboCop. It's one of the greatest movies of all time.
I like the remake.
Oh.
No,
I
shut
thought
up.
the remake was.
So-
No, I'm not kidding. I saw the
I'm
remake
quitting.
in theaters and I really liked it.
Ah.
I mean, I'll defend it in being like I think it's fine, but
it's It's one of the better remakes of an old movie.
But it's been a while, so
The
my
original
opinion could be
just
changed.
So awesome. And like the best thing about Robocop is that as it ages, it only gets funnier because of the age.
Mm-hmm.
Like it gets so aggressively 80s and just it's not even an 80s movie. It's a fucking Western that's set in the 80s. It has the 80s theme to it that like it has like a theme straight out of like Fistful of Dollars.
Yeah, but and then the background of it is definitely about capitalism, but mostly it's a Western. Yeah.
God, Robocop just does so much.
And then I gotta say, like, I did like it in this comic where the Terminators then, after he blows them all up, they start rebuilding, but now they're building themselves like Robocop. Like, that is cool how they look like Robocop, but they still have like the skull mouth, and then they're just destroying the humans and fighting Robocop.
I like how she verifies that he is like a robot.
Wait, no, I'm wrong. He made more Robocops of himself that are fighting Terminator.
Terminator Robocop.
Okay, I was wrong. I had to fix myself before I kept going.
Yeah, because that's what she says. Like, he's not a personality. He's nothing more than a program, a copy of what his human soul was decades ago. So he's just copying himself and making more of himself.
Which is like a super deep moment if you really like Robocop, because that's like something he absolutely hates the idea of making robotic versions of himself because he is so attached to his humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then the real Robocop is flying to go to like the center to stop them. That's what was happening.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, I forgot all this. It's been over a week.
Yeah, it has the Iron Man versus Ultron scene of all the Robocops fighting all the Terminators and just annihilating them.
Oh yeah.
It's a weird scene, and then when he goes, and you have the I thought this was dumb, where he ends up flying into like some of his imagination, where you have
Skynet. He flies into Skynet.
Okay, you have the Doctor all sexualized in some 80s in 90s clothing, and you have the girl all sexualized in some weird ass outfit, where they're all like trying to strip down and be naked for him, and it's just weird.
Yeah, it's like Skynet is attacking his programming and making him, it's like giving him like illusions. It's making him perceive that like this is, we can give you whatever you want, Alex. Like, you want the perfect life, you want your wife back, your wife is here, you want to get with Flo, because Flo, by the way, at this point,
her name is Flo.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot about that. That was stupid.
Florence, her last name is really weird. It's like Florence Langer.
Weird little fact: the girl that plays Flo on those not cartoons, those stupid commercials, was also worked for Wolfram and Hart in the Angel show for an episode or more. I don't know, but she's definitely on Angel.
She does like conferences all the time. I found out, like, whenever Progressive has a conference, they get Flo from Progressive to like lead the conference.
Oh, wow.
I have a friend who works for Progressive, and he was like, yeah, we had to go to like the Virginia Beach Conference Center, and Flo was there. It's like, Flo from Progressive was there? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, what was that like? And he was like, well, she's actually really funny. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
It's just weird.
It's a nice little thing to know.
Fun fact you learn on games my mom found.
Fun little fact. Little side stories. But yeah, so you have
thank you.
Have him like and by the way, at this point, like, because he's in like a weird illusion, he's in a genjutsu. He's got to stop Itachi. He's like imagining himself as a full human. I love like the scene where he's like, you are junk, and he points his finger out, and it like transforms back into Robocop and shoots them apart, like just blows them to pieces.
Yeah.
It's just like, no.
But I mean, the thing that was cool is he ends up killing Skynet. He stops them, and he's able to start or he doesn't change the past or change what happened, but he stops them from killing what's left of the human.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He also has a really weird line at that point, because he says, shove and die. Which, I mean, like, is not a bad line for like an action comic or movie or show or anything, but I read every line from Robocop in Robocop's voice. And so I was trying to imagine Alex Murphy saying like, shut up and die. And it's like, that's just, it sounds weird.
Yeah, it would sound weird him saying it. I think he would have to use some form of inflection that would make it work, I guess.
Yeah. And I guess you could say like, there could be inflection there because he's more human in this comic than he is in many of the movies.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of like a central theme to it. But I like that, like, the final kill isn't it's not him just like shooting Skynet in the face, even though he does just shoot like the two illusions in the face. It's him putting his like little R2D2 sprog in the input device, and then everything just starts exploding.
It makes more sense than just having him destroy everything like a like this was an action movie.
Yeah, but it's also like it's I don't know. It's kind of clever. It's kind of nice to see like okay, at the end of Robocop versus Terminator, I wasn't expecting the killing move to be plugging your fist into a wall.
Yeah, it's weird. And then you have Flo dies, which gets them all upset.
Yeah, Flo gets shot at some point, and like somehow he gets back to her very quickly.
Yeah, comic books.
Yeah,
that's all.
But then it does like the whole. He decides to go back in time one last time to destroy. He's got to destroy Skynet from the source, and so
this was cool.
It was cool, but it was the second thing that raised a lot of questions for me because the way he does it is he creates like a lump of the synthetic flesh. The cloned flesh, and travels back inside a giant lump of flesh.
It doesn't make any sense in the context of what we've been told about Terminator time travel, but in the comic book, I guess.
Well, I was trying to think of it as like it's got a lot of things wrong with it, and I was trying to justify it, and I was like, okay, well, the reason the Terminators can go back because they're not organic is because they're covered in the cloned flesh, so that makes sense.
Yeah, so same idea.
But also like this, like the flesh when he gets back is like seared and burnt. I was like, that didn't happen to like Arnold Schwarzenegger when he went back. He wasn't like seared and burnt and covered in scars. He was like perfect, like molded body covered in baby oil. Like there was no scarring on him.
But that was more like they knew what they were doing. Robocop didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah, and also at this point, he's like there's a very small detail that I love where there's a line that says like the flesh was necessary. He could only travel back covered in flesh. And now Robocop shrugs off the flesh with a simple sonic blast, and like he bursts the flesh off of him, and his entire face is now like the metal skeleton. It's a very tiny detail that I love.
It looks awesome.
It looks so cool.
And it's a good finishing. Like he finds Skynet in the past, destroys it before it can become Skynet, before it can destroy the world. And I thought that was cool. And then it shows in the future where Flo wakes up and she's alive again. She's laying in the grass and there's flowers and weird futuristic buildings.
Yeah, and she wakes up in an episode of Star Trek.
That's a very good way to describe it. An episode of Next Generation, to be exact.
Yes. But yeah, that episode of TOS where they there's like the perfect world where the women are in charge and then they like want to like kidnap Kirk and
I know what you're talking about.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
they want to
think of the name.
They want like Chekhov to stay with them or something. They're like, oh, you belong to us now. And Kirk has to like get Chekhov off the planet without, it's either Chekhov or Bones, but it's like, they're like, we've got to get him off the planet without freaking out all these women.
My favorite line is still there's a part with Kirk and Spock in Star Trek, and I forget what planet they're on, and then something about Spock's like, well, that's illogical, and Kirk just starts laughing, pats him on the shoulder, and says, only your planet can claim that your women are illogical, and I just always loved that joke. I don't know, it just made me laugh.
Man.
I know it's sexist, but it's just funny to me, that joke. Just the way.
I love anyone who says like TOS was like ahead of its time in terms of like equality and stuff. Maybe go back and watch like the original series because they weren't that ahead of their time.
Yeah, no, Next Generation is more. But
it's
not
super sexist.
It's pretty bad.
There's if anyone goes back to it, they'll notice that every time they do a close up of a male, like the screen's perfectly fine, but when it's a woman, they kind of blur it because they don't want to show their age.
Yeah.
It's really messed up.
The camera's also slightly panned down for some of the women. I mean, not for Kirk, obviously, because they got to show that like hairy chest off of his, but and also all the women are wearing like mini skirts, like they're wearing straight up like flight attendant outfits.
Yeah, the show's a little odd. I really like Star Trek, but it's the original series a little odd.
I love the original series. I love Next Generation, but man, like that original series is pretty old.
So, and then the way that to get back to the comic, the way that this comic wraps up, it shows Robocop back in Detroit, like nothing happened, regular Robocop. And then it shows one last Terminator is trying to go back in time again. This is like the 6th or 7th time they go back in time in this stupid comic.
It's the Bill and Ted ending.
And it was funny. Like the robot dog goes back in time. You know, he looks around and he realizes he went a little too far and has a dinosaur steps on him.
Oh, yeah, that's great. That's the best.
That was a good ending. Like I thought that was funny.
Note to any aspiring comic book artists out there, Stefan included. You want to end a comic, your last fucking panel had better be a giant T-Rex squashing a robot. Like that is the best way to end anything.
I've actually drawn a T-Rex before. If anyone's kind of curious, my Instagram is Cyberpunk Holiday, but I did draw a sketch of a T-Rex bursting in through the wall, and the chick from Dino Crisis was there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I forget her name.
Regina.
Regina, yeah.
I was getting flashbacks to Overblood 2 with the T-Rex and the Terminator. It was like a little weird crossover in my head. I was like,
What does T-Rex have to do with Overblood 2?
Overblood 2, you fight a Terminator T-Rex.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We're playing that game
with a lightsaber.
Yeah, you can fight it with a lightsaber. I think that's actually the best way to fight it.
God.
Overblood 2 is the best game ever made. You fight a Terminator T-Rex with a lightsaber.
So any last thing that you want to say about this comic before we go to Shelf or Box?
Just that I've recently found out an interesting fact. So I grew up, before I even read the comic book, because I thought it was going to be garbage, I actually played the video game on Sega, and it also came out on Super Nintendo. They're two different games, but I just reading the Wikipedia found out that there was a prototype for an actual original Nintendo NES Robocop versus Terminator, which people have put together, and it is on the internet as a ROM.
Ooh.
So
we should
I bet it
that
isn't
game
good
on the show.
Yeah.
I will stand by most fan-made games I've played are they might not be like the best games ever made, but they all have like a certain love put into them that gives them a real charm.
Yeah, and they usually come out very clean, and you can play them and not feel like they're broken messes. So,
Black Mesa finally came out. That's just like a fan remake of Half-Life that upwards of 10 years old
right now.
Yeah, I am dating us, but
because this is not going to be released anytime that goes exactly when that just came out. So
it just came out several months ago.
Okay.
All right, I think it's time to go Shelf or Box, and we'll start with a very positive reaction. So I'll go first.
Okay.
So I'm putting this shit in the box. It's not a bad comic. It's just not for me. I mean, I am the worst person to have on this episode. That's why I was trying to get. We got Stu. I was trying to get another one of our friend of the show, Andrew. He wasn't able to make it because I'm like, we need to fill the people who actually like Robocop and like Terminator more than this guy, because this guy is not a fan. I do like Terminator, but I'm not a big fan. I mean, it's a fine book. I mean, I read it in like 2 days or so, and it kept my interest, but it wasn't for me. It didn't entertain me. I just didn't really enjoy it. So it's going in the box, and I never want to read it again. How about you, Stefan?
Well, did you like the art?
Not really.
Oh my God, Mike, you're killing me right now.
I think I warned you beforehand that I wasn't gonna be positive.
You're so hard to please sometimes.
Wait till we read Supersonic vs. Hyper Knuckles.
Oh God, I'm not looking forward to that. But
I'm not gonna be on that episode. I get to pick and choose which episodes I'm on for the comic books. It's nice.
Stefan does not.
Yeah,
I don't.
No, I get to choose my suffering for once.
Like I said, though, I when I originally had picked this up, I thought it was going to be a piece garbage. I didn't realize it was written by Frank Miller or drawn by Walt Simonson. But after I did, I was like, okay, well, this might be good. We'll see what Frank does with it. And this is post crazy Frank Miller, as people would say, or pre Frank Miller.
Crazy.
Yeah, so crazy Frank.
Crazy Miller.
Yeah, crazy Frank.
I think Frank Miller was always crazy, to be fair. This is pre Gary Busey crazy Frankie Miller.
Yeah. I don't know. I still enjoy some of his new stuff, but I think he nailed it in this one, like putting two IPs together and clashing them this way and trying to find some story within them. That can actually be a difficult task. Like, I mean, if someone told me to put like Gumby and fucking Care Bears together or something, I'd be like, no, there's no story there.
But pick the worst thing you could think of.
I'll find the story.
Yeah, but it's this. Okay, I'll put it this way then. This was better than Freddy versus Jason versus Ash, the second one.
Here, I got one. How about Disney and Final Fantasy characters? How about that?
That would be easy.
I've never played those games, so
okay, good. Someone got my joke.
Yeah, but this came together beautifully. I think the art was exquisite. They knew exactly what they were doing. There was like the sole focus of a team together doing a good collaboration in comics. So I'm putting it on my shelf. I love it. How about you, Stu?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put it on my shelf as well. I really like Robocop. I really like the first couple Terminator movies, and I like the concept of Terminator still, and I love the concept of Robocop. So yeah, it's just like all around just a really fantastically made comic. The writing was superb, which is usually my biggest complaint with any comics, is that the writing is the weakest part. But I loved how, like, I think Frank Miller's a pretty good writer. I love how much he like calls back to earlier scenes. He does a lot of like setups, and not even setups and payoffs. He does a lot of like synchronistic storytelling where something will happen and then it'll call back to it and it'll be like almost the same exact setup and scene, but just done in a different way, which is always really interesting to me. The fact that like the explosives being shot came back at the very end of the comic again was cool. I really like the art style as well. I think typically like I'm not immediately drawn to like every comic book art style, but this was very perfect for Robocop and Terminator. It had that very like 80s over the top violent feel to it, and that bright colors and just extreme action. It was just a really fun little read. So yeah, it's going on my shelf, and I would highly recommend if anyone wants a little tiny comic to read, then something you can get through in like maybe honestly like an hour, less than an hour.
Yeah, there's also, if anyone's interested and they do like the art, there's something that came out called the Gallery Edition, which is like 50 inches tall, 50 inches wide. It's just all the comics together in black and white. It's pretty crazy that it got made.
That's cool.
That is pretty crazy that it got made. All right, and I think that about wraps up our comic episode for this one. We'll have another one up to you coming up. I don't know what will be next, because I don't really know where we're going with. We just keep making. I don't know when I'm publishing this. First, want to give an awesome shout out to Balby, aka Mike Stoney, from his EP "Bite the Bullet." The song is "The Cool Kid Squad." See a link in the show notes for that. As everyone has said, I mean, I would recommend, if you like Robocop, you like Terminator, definitely give this a read and find this comic. You won't. If you like this, you'll like this. I just am not the guy. So don't listen to my bullshit. Definitely, if you like it, if it sounds interesting, take a look at it.
Mike's becoming self-aware.
Yeah. If you at all like Robocop or Terminator, though, I mean, like, this is just perfect for you. May I make a recommendation for the next comic we do?
Yeah, sure.
Since because of this whole virus thing going on, I'm gonna be free for a little while. We should do Beast of Burden.
Yeah,
okay. Finally do that.
Yeah,
that's probably at some point, guys. That might be some point you'll be hearing this. I don't know when I'm publishing this, so. I'm gonna say that
it's a comic series that I want to do, so it must be good, or I have no idea what I'm talking about, and it's gonna be total shit. Find out later.
None of us have ever read it, so we are going in completely blind.
None of us have read it. I have just seen lots and lots of screenshots of it, and I really want to read it, but I also need an excuse to read it. So.
Yeah, that's one thing wonderful about this show. All right, we're going to let you guys all go. We will see you next time. Everyone have a wonderful night, everybody.
Stay safe.
Bye, everybody.
Your moves, depending on what this episode